and get started. My name is Sid Haas. I'm the Vice President of Business Development here at LKCS. And we're joined today by Paul Lehnert from Lenderful Solutions. Lenderful has a tremendous online borrowing platform across mortgages, home equity loans, personal loans. And one of the things that banks and credit unions have learned over COVID is how important high-quality digital solutions are, and where Lenderful really sets themselves apart from other online lending platforms, as Paul will show you, is they provide really a tremendous user experience. So with that said, I'm going to turn things over to Paul to give us our presentation today. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sid. Like Sid said, my name is Paul Lehnert. I'm the Director of Business Development here at Lenderful Solutions. We're a Michigan-based company, and we're an IT company that we feel that we really deliver the superior online lending experience. We specialize in mortgage, home equity, and personal loans. We're working on auto at the moment. We definitely feel that we engage borrowers too early in the lending cycle, let them, specifically let them learn, shop, select, and apply for a loan. So kind of as Sid said, today's topic is we're going to go through the lending experience, kind of show you what we have. And some questions that you guys can ask internally is, are you prepared and providing a positive lending experience? What does your online lending experience look like today? Are you engaging your borrowers? Are you making it easy and friendly for them to use? Do you only just have an online application where a borrower would download it, fill it out, and fill back in and send it back in? Do you just have a phone number or email address listed? Or in a few cases when we go through, you see nothing at all. One thing to kind of keep in mind is your current largest purchase market is on millennials, and they are the largest demographic in the United States. They're larger than the baby boomers. And Gen Zs, this whole demographic expects more. They're growing up with iPads and mobile devices almost in the crib. And with that demographic used to being accustomed to having an online experience, you guys need to make sure you're prepared to support them. Like we said, millennials currently outnumber baby boomers by 25%. Gen Zs are going to be approximately 26% of the population. And then more than 40% of them are very fickle, and they'll switch a financial institution simply for a better experience. So staying ahead of the game and providing that experience to them help retain them and keep them in your banking needs. So why is it more important than ever to have a great online lending experience? And like Sid kind of mentioned, with the pandemic, we learned that having online capabilities is not really an option. It is a necessity. With the branch closures and with people working from home more often, it's become very convenient for them to be able to bank and lend and borrow all through a mobile device or through their computer. Expectations are that they can have all this information available to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on any device. Having a good online capability, you are in control of the behavior and the satisfaction of that borrower. You can drive the messages that you want to deliver. You increase your loan volumes, and not only with having a good quality online presence and solution, you're supporting your loan officer's efficiency. If anything can be done digital and also being out in front of them, you're generating the efficiency of that loan officer. So what kind of defines a good experience? It's having a total online lending experience, letting the customer, borrower, member go through and let them learn what's set up for them, not just a simple application. Provide immediate valued answers. How much can I borrow, and how much is that? Not just the best rate that's available out there, but shop the best rates and programs that apply to their situation. Offer an application when the borrower is ready, and it's an online application where it's a simple form to fill out, type in the answers, and then have it delivered right into an LOS or CRM. We have seen that, requiring another login or social security number in the beginning of the process seems to scare away your potential borrowers. So let them learn, get them engaged through the process, and then you can go through at the end and require a social security number at the end of the process. And then, like we said, support your loan office through technology. We're not looking to replace your loan officers. We're trying to make them more efficient and help engage with communication with the borrowers as they're going through the process. And then just a little side note, our technology is available in Spanish, which is a large growing demographic here in the United States. So why should we do something for lending right now? Well, with the volume of refinances are starting to kind of decrease. I know mortgage, I saw today interest rates were roughly still floating about 3%, but this is going to start changing. You're going to start seeing mortgage purchases are increasing as a percentage of loans still with the housing market, and home equity loans are going to become more attractive with less cash out refinances going forward. The other thing is to know personal loans are one of the fastest growing demographics products out there. Roughly 42 million or 12% of the consumers are taking personal loans. And on average, you're seeing dollars amount of $3,000 and higher. As a result, all the lending institutions are going up for a much smaller portion of the pie, and it's getting divided up. So being aggressive and forward thinking, you're staying ahead of the curve and staying engaged with your customer base. So as we go through right now, I'll kind of go through a demo of the product. I'll bring up our lending platform here at the beginning. So we're a white labeled platform. Everything can be customized to your brand, your voice, your image. As you're going through the process or through the setting up the page, everything nothing will really say Lenderful on it. It'll all be set up for your institution as you go through. We set up a learning center here so the borrowers can kind of go through and educate themselves on the different information that would be out there, credit scores, the loan types that you would offer, loan rates and information there. Mortgage calculators are set up also for them to kind of go through and help educate themselves on the process. So we get two great options here in the mortgage area. The first one is a great lead generation tool that we have developed. It's called Pre-Qual Express, where your borrower, customer, or member can go through and get a pre-qual letter in 5 minutes or less. You also you're able to generate some great lead generate information here from the borrower, from the consumer, where at this point right here, you're able to have the contact information already sent into a CRM and an email right to the loan officer. So you have a way to follow up with that customer, even if they haven't gone through and finished it from here on out. But just some easy basic questions. Where are they in the process, timeline to help guide the loan officer through to help them understand on the back end. Tell us about your new purchase, the home value, down payment, property type, property use, and zip code. We use zip code also to help to define your market area. So if it doesn't fit into your market area, you can then, it'll kind of kick them out. We never, as I want to kind of make a point, as you go through this, we never deny anybody. We simply just refer them to the loan officer, and the loan officer can then follow up with the process and continue forward. What's your current address? marital status, and if you have a co-borrower. If you have a co-borrower at this point, it will generate another list of questions for the borrower to kind of fill out. We use the United States Postal Service to verify the address and just to make sure that everything is set up correct. If you offer VA loans at this point, this would be kind of selected here. And then we do an introduction to the loan officer, where we can have the image and information kind of set up at that point. At this point, I'll pull up a test case to kind of show everybody the continuation of the process. So we're doing a soft pull in the background, and it doesn't, as we kind of note here at the bottom, it doesn't affect the borrower's credit score. We've seen that using the soft pull in the background, they've gotten to a point where all three bureaus are having to report to the same. So the information coming across is very, very, very accurate. Some easy toggle questions. They can kind of go back and forth through the pre-qual process here. So as we're kind of running the soft pull in the background, it comes up with their credit score, lets them know that so far they're being approved, and we'll click next. What do you plan on doing with your current property? We're going to sell it. What's your income source? So we do a small verification of employment, get a monthly base salary, any additional income that might apply, and is it verifiable for the last 2 years? So at this point, the borrower has been pre-qualified, tells them what their amount is, and they'll receive a letter email that is also customized and branded to your institution, or it would be your header, your information here, lets the person know what they were pre-qualified amount, the loan officer's contact information here, and then they can take this information and share it with their real estate agent and proceed going forward. If at some point they want to go back and change that loan amount, they can, or it'd be a page that looks simply like this. They could change the loan amount to a lesser value than what they were pre-qualified for. And at this point, they can share this information with the real estate agent and then submit it and go forward from there. As we kind of said, this is a great tool that we can set up with each individual loan officer where they could have their own landing page. It would have their picture and image. They could have this set up so they can be emailed out to their contacts, their preferred real estate agents, or any kind of family members or friends that would generate a lead off of this. So just kind of a visual example of what that would look like on that landing page and information there. Perfect. So also with the mortgage process, we have purchase rates and programs, or refinance rates and programs. Again, very simple short form here right in the beginning to gather contact information. What is the purpose of refinancing? Property use, single family home. What is their estimated credit score? Escrow for taxes. Home value. The loan amount they're looking to refinance for, and then zip code again to help define your market value area. Gather contact information right here. So you're generating a very hot, we call it a hot lead, or a highly interested individual that would be a great tool to follow up with. At this point, we would display the loan options that your institution provides with the current rates that are out there. They can use this and kind of stop right here, seeing the information that was applied to them, or they can play a what if scenario and say, you know what, those rates were better than I anticipated, so let's take a little bit more out, recalculate it, and it comes up with the different rates and information applied to them. They can email these rates to themselves. This information is also shared with the loan officer that would be assigned to this. And then if there's a continuation of communication and follow-up, the loan officer and the borrower then are working off the same page with the same information. So now they've gone through and they've shopped the information, and now they can go ahead and apply. And if we feel that this is the information here, it displays the information here at the top, continues the information that was previously entered right through the application process. And we continue to fill out the information, the loan application, as we go forward. At some point, if there's information that the borrower is not confident in or really doesn't have in front of them, they can hit the save for later button here and then go back and recontinue that information and go forward with the application. As we kind of get to the end of the application, there's always a option for the borrower to set up their preferred time to meet with the loan officer. It's not a actual scheduler, but it would just kind of set up to the loan officer and says, hey, I'm available typically on Wednesdays, starting at 10 a.m. As you can kind of see as I go through this, it's very easy to use, very simple questions. The questions that are presented to the borrower are set up to their specific situation. So if like a VA doesn't apply to them, then we don't ask them those questions. Same example here with the co-borrower. Verification of employment. And all questions are current. Do you intend the property value? Easy toggle questions, just like we kind of presented before. Your government monitoring questions here, and again, here's the scheduler part that I mentioned earlier. So right now they're kind of submitting the application, and this information can then be put into your LOS either through an upload file or an API. We can also have the contact information go into a CRM for a contact lead. And then as you can see, there's a download checklist here, and here's a checklist that is sent to the borrower. So here's the information that they would need to bring with them to closing to help expedite the process going forward from there. I'll kind of touch on a little bit here our home equity. Again, home equity is again white labeled, customized to your brand, your voice. It's a great tool to kind of help educate your potential borrowers for what's the difference between a home equity loan and a home equity line of credit. Again, we have our learning centers up here at the top. But usually the hot topic of question is, as you're going through for a home equity, is how much can I borrow? The information that the consumer really wants to know is, what is applied to their situation. Not just the best rate that's available on the market at the time. Zip code for, again, define your market value. At this point, based on the information, here's what their maximum loan amount could be. We go ahead and we display how that was determined for them. And then again, we can play the what if scenario. If they were, it's not 100,000. I mistyped, it's 120,000. and then we can recalculate it. At this point, we can continue and go forward. We ask them what their estimated credit score is, how much they'd like to borrow. We again generate contact lead information here. And at this point, we display what the different rates and terms are between a fixed home equity loan and a home equity loan line of credit. At this point, they can change the loan amount if they feel those figures are a little higher than they anticipated. So we can go ahead and recalculate it down. And then display the adjusted rates that would be applied to both the home line of credit and the equity line of credit information. And at this point, if they wanted to go forward and continue it, they absolutely can. And it goes through and asks the information that would be necessary to continue the application process. And as you can see, again, all our information is pulled forward that was entered earlier to help save time. Do you have a co-borrower? Estimated credit score, marital status, any dependents, citizenship, property address to use for collateral. Again, information that was pulled forward from the beginning, just to verify and make sure that it is correct. How much you're going to look to borrow, just to make sure that we're pulling the right information. Again, annual taxes, any HOA fees. Do you have any additional properties that you plan to use? If you hit yes, it pulls up the list of questions that are necessary. Verification of employment. Monthly base pay. And any other income that is necessary. Again, the same easy toggle questions that you saw in the refinance part of the application form. And again, the scheduler here at the bottom. By hitting submit, the information is then gathered and sent over to the institution, and then the loan officer then has to follow up and continue the information from there. That's kind of the home equity. And then personal loans. Again, as you can see, it's white labeled. It is very easy, very simple. We have the same kind of package kind of set up. We can customize, we do customize the look and the color. We can change the boxes, if you want them a little more squared off, a little more round, all the, little personal details you can have in there, your questions. But with personal loans, it's see what the rates and payment options are for you, estimated credit score, zip code, very simple information that can be gathered up depending on, we can customize it to the institution, to how much the limits that you want, not only minimum, but also maximum. And then at the end, we can have it set up for the individuals to almost where it's set up to be dropped right into their bank account. So based on a $10,000 inquiry and the interest and the rates that you guys would want to display, it would show them what their monthly payment would be. Again, just allowing the borrower, consumer, member to go through and educate themselves, learn, shop, select, and then would be the apply. We can change the loan amount if we feel that it was a little higher than we anticipated. And we recalculate it out based on information. I'd say if I feel that the 3-year term at 236 would be best for me. We gather their contact information. We have a co-borrower, current housing situation, verification of employment. And do you expect this income to decline? Run your citizenship. I'll run and at this point, we would also run a soft pull in the background. Comes up and we tell them congratulations, they're pre-qualified for the loan amount. And at this point, we can have a button here and continue forward to gather like social security number or any kind of information that your institution would want. So that's kind of like the personal loans, home equity, mortgage rate, and pre-qual express. A kind of neat little tool that we kind of started engaging with is the social media message bot here, where we could, if your institution is active on marketing using social media and Facebook Messenger, you can kind of do a pre-qual, pre-screen with borrowers using social media. It goes through and it kind of starts them with some basic questions and engages the customer and the borrower. The great tool here by simply sending that information there, we've already engaged and gathered some contact information from the borrower, and it kind of goes through and asks them the same basic questions that we've started the pre-qual express program. Very easy to use. Are you working with a real estate agent? Have you been pre-qualified? You've gotten the contact information there. If they have, then the lead goes over. If they haven't, just starts gathering zip code to define the market value area. And then at this point, we generate them and we kick the borrower over to your landing page to continue the process and fill out and get a pre-qual letter and go forward from there. So again, as you can see, it's very simple and easy to use for the borrower. We're trying to engage and generate leads and help your borrowers, customers, members to engage through the process. So kind of a summary of our value is, it is private label, it is customized to portray your brand and your voice. Make it available through your website, and it is designed to be access mobile, tablet, and desktop. Easy and quick to deploy, very minimal impact to your internal resources. We do 99% of the work. We can have you up and running in about 4 to 6 weeks. All data output can be sent right into your LOS and a CRM. And if there's a low setup fees, low maintenance fees, we don't do it based on volume. Whether you do 1 or you do 100, it is the same monthly fee. Just a couple of highlights of our success is with our pre-qual express. We do have an institution that's using it and has been greatly successful. 50% of their pre-quals have been successful, and what they're really good at is the ones that aren't successful is they are following up with them, and sometimes it is a slightly gray area of information that can be tweaked, and then they generate the pre-qual letter. They're using the 50% that are declined, they're getting those to close or getting them pre-qualified by using the software. We do have a large institution using our home equity application. The great impacts for this one is they generate 458 leads in the first month, which is huge. That's about 15 leads a day, which was an increase from about 2 leads per week. They've had very successful enclosure rates, and they're very aggressive with their marketing and engagement process with their customer base. I'd like to thank everybody for their time today. As we kind of say, take the introspective look of what is your current lending solutions, gather your lending team and kind of discuss what your course of action is to be going forward, because I will say doing nothing is not the answer. If you just have an online application, that's still you're kind of behind the time. So we would say get in contact with Sid or one of the representatives at LKCS and schedule a personal demonstration and see if we can answer any more questions or information going forward.
Paul, we've had a couple questions come in.
Okay.
First one I see is, how do we get the application data into our LOS?
So there's an API that we can set up depending on what LOS system you have. There's an API that can just drop it right in there for you when the borrower fills it out, or there's a 3.2 file upload. So you get it, the application get filled out. It's basically a 2-click process of an upload and a download into the LOS system.
Cool. Yeah, the APIs make it easy. Another question
absolutely.
for you is, why would we need your Pre-Qual Express if we implement your full mortgage site and application?
Well, so Pre-Qual Express helps the shopper or the home shopper get a pre-qual letter and keep up with the competitive market that's out there. So with the high turnover rate of homes and people going through, they may not be ready to fill out a mortgage application, but they're in home shopping and they want to be able to go shop. The Pre-Qual Express is if you purchase the mortgage solution, it comes as a solution included with the mortgage. So you're kind of getting the great access tool there. So it's part of the mortgage, but you can buy it independently. We do have a couple of institutions that have done that, but it is packaged all together if you buy a mortgage.
Then there's a compliance question. How do you handle delivering disclosures within the TRID time requirements?
So with the TRIG, you notice we don't ask for social security number. And the part of the reason we do that is we don't start the TRIG clock on you. With the high volume rates of everything going through, we allow you to do that. The LOS systems that are out there deliver the disclosures. So right now we're not in the disclosure business. We're generating leads and applications. So we let that's the part of the integration with the LOS, is to let that system be in control and the source of information with disclosures.
And then one more, are rate inquiry leads. So when somebody's just shopping for a rate, are those leads delivered to our loan officer even if the user decides not to proceed with the full application?
Yeah, so as you saw, each of our solutions has that little short form in the beginning. And as soon as the potential borrower fills that information out, that contact information of the borrower is sent to the loan officer via email. So the loan officer then can go back and do the follow-up work and reach back out. If the borrower stops right there, they shop the rates, they saw what is there, and it kind of goes radio silent for a week or whatever, and you have a loan officer that is engaging and active, they can reach back out to that person and see if they can support it along.
Cool. Those are the only questions that I've seen come in. But as a reminder, there's anybody can still ask additional questions through the questions section of the GoToWebinar toolbar. We'd be happy to answer those. I don't see any other questions, so I definitely want to thank
Okay.
everybody for attending today. And as I mentioned earlier, the link to the recorded presentation and a link to download these presentation slides will both be sent out in a few hours later this afternoon. But thank you very much, and thank you, Paul, for the presentation.
My pleasure, and I appreciate everybody's time as well. And if we want to have more of a personal meeting or answer some questions that you may have you come up with later, feel free to contact Sid or myself, and we're more than happy to discuss them with you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.